Close your eyes and let the gentle hum of a distant river guide you into a deep, peaceful sleep. Welcome to a medieval tale set in the misty village of Eldwood, where two young hearts, torn by hatred, find love amidst war and loss. As the soft rustle of leaves and the faint crackle of a campfire envelop you, allow this story to carry you into a world of courage, romance, and mystery. Breathe deeply, and let's begin. In the heart of Eldwood, a village cradled by rolling hills and ancient oaks, the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming heather. The year was 1372, and the village lay under the shadow of a fragile truce forged by King Alaric's decree. Two clans, Eldric and Liora, had feuded for generations, their hatred as old as the stones in the village square. Eldric's leader, Lord Gabric, and Liora's chief, Lord Torin, were sworn enemies, their blades ever ready to spill blood. Yet, the king's alliance forced them to share the valley, their manners glaring at each other across the silver thread of the river sill. Eldric, Gabric's son, was 18, with storm-gray eyes and calloused hands from wielding a sword. He carried his father's pride like a mantle, his heart hardened against the Liora clan. Across the river, Liora, Torin's daughter, 17, with auburn hair and a gaze sharp as a dagger, mirrored his disdain. Their father's hatred had seeped into them, and their rare encounters were marked by cold glares and sharper words. "Stay on your side of the river, Liora scum," Eldric once spat, his voice low but venomous. Liora's reply was a hissed, "I'd rather kiss a toad than share this valley with a Eldric dog." One foggy morning, as the village slumbered under a quilt of mist, a horn's mournful wail shattered the peace. Riders from the rival kingdom of Drakmor had crossed the border, their banners black as night. King Alaric's decree came swiftly. Eldric and Liora must unite to defend Eldwood or fall to Drakmor's iron fist. The clans, though seething, had no choice. Gabric and Torin stood shoulder to shoulder in the war council, their faces grim, while Eldric and Liora, forced to train together, clashed like steel on stone. In the training yard, under a sky heavy with rain, their swords met with a screech. Liora's blade pressed against Eldric's throat, her breath hot with anger. "One slip, Eldric, and I'll end your line here," she whispered, her voice a dangerous melody. Eldric's sword grazed her collarbone, his eyes blazing. "Try it, Liora, and you'll meet your ancestors tonight." The air crackled with their fury, but their trainers barked for them to stand down. They parted, hearts pounding, the river's murmur the only sound in the tense silence. The war came like a storm. Drakmor's forces swept through the valley, their catapults hurling fire into the night. Eldwood's fields burned, and the river ran red. In the battle's chaos, Gabric and Torin fought side by side, their swords flashing under a blood-red moon. But fate was cruel. A Drakmor arrow found Gabric's heart, and a spear pierced Torin's side. By dawn, both fathers lay dead on the battlefield, their blood mingling in the mud. Eldric and Liora, now orphaned, stood over their fathers' graves, the village square silent save for the wind's soft moan. The king's command lingered, unite or perish. With Drakmor's forces regrouping, Eldric and Liora were thrust into leadership, their clan's survival resting on their shoulders. "I'll never trust you," Liora said, her voice trembling as she gripped her father's sword. Eldric's jaw tightened. "Nor I you. But we fight, or we die." Their journey began in the ashes of war. They led their clans through the valley, seeking allies in distant hamlets. The nights were long, spent around flickering campfires, the air heavy with grief and mistrust. Yet, necessity forged a fragile bond. One evening, as they scouted a forest path, a Drakmor ambush struck. Eldric shielded Liora from an arrow, his arm bleeding. "Why?" she demanded, binding his wound under the starlight. He shrugged, his voice softer than she'd ever heard. "Couldn't let you die." "Who'd argue with me then?" Weeks turned to months, and their hatred softened like wax in a flame. Liora's sharp wit began to draw Eldric's rare smiles. He noticed the way her fingers traced her father's ring when she spoke of home, and she saw the weight of loss in his quiet moments by the fire. One night, under a canopy of silver birches, Liora shared a memory of her mother's lullaby. Eldric, hesitating, offered a tale of his father's stargazing lessons. "Look," he said, pointing to the sky, "that's the hunter's bow. Father said it guides lost souls home." Leora's gaze lingered on him, her voice a whisper. "Maybe it's guiding us, too." Their love grew slowly, like a seed in spring soil. A brush of hands while passing bread, a shared laugh over a clumsy sparring match, a glance held too long across the fire. By the time they reached the king's fortress to rally his army, their clans whispered of a new alliance, not of swords, but of hearts. In a quiet moment, as rain pattered on the fortress roof, Eldric took Leora's hand. "I hated you once," he murmured, his thumb tracing her palm. "Now I can't imagine this fight without you." Leora's eyes shimmered. "I hated you more. But now, you're my strength." Together, they led a final stand against Drakmor. The battle was fierce, the valley echoing with clashing steel and the cries of the fallen. Eldric and Liora fought as one, their blades a blur, their trust unbreakable. Drakmor's forces crumbled, and Eldwood was saved. The village celebrated, lanterns glowing in the night, as Eldric and Liora stood on the riverbank, their hands entwined. "We did it," Liora whispered, her head resting on his shoulder. Together, Eldric replied, the river's song wrapping around them. But fate held one final twist. As peace settled, a sealed letter arrived from King Alaric's court, its wax bearing the royal crest. It revealed a secret that shattered their world. Liora was not Torin's daughter. She was the king's own, hidden in Eldwood to protect her from Drakmor's assassins. The alliance, the war, even their father's deaths, had they been pawns in a royal game? Leora's face paled as she read the words, her hand slipping from Eldric's. "If I'm not Vera, who am I?" she whispered, her voice breaking. Eldric's eyes searched hers, steady despite the storm within. "You're Liora. My Liora. And no king's letter changes that." The river flowed on, its gentle ripples carrying their unspoken fears into the night. As you drift toward sleep, picture Eldric and Liora by that quiet river, their hearts entwined despite the world's weight. Let the soft current lull you into dreams, where love and courage light the way. If this tale warmed your soul, subscribe for more soothing stories to guide you to sleep. Share in the comments what setting you'd love next, a snowy mountain, a starry desert, or another cozy village. Sleep well, and may your dreams be as peaceful as Eldwood's valley.